Hello and welcome to Walking Wartime. Today we're back in Grafton Underwood to see the 384th Bomb Group. Let's go check it out.
I want to speak on my favorite subject, the Army Air Forces.
On the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months, the eyes of the world are upon you.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
But I want you to remember that the sacrifice that these men have made must not be in vain.
And we shall carry on together.
Fighting the hills, we shall never surrender.
Grafton Underwood, Northamptonshire would be the first airfield in England to receive an 8th Air Force unit. Built in 1941 by the George Wimpey Company, Grafton Underwood would see the 15th Bomb Squadron arrive using the airfield as a satellite for Polebrook. Later, the airfield would be home to the 97th Bomb Group on the 6th of July 1942. On the 17th of August 1942 would be an historic day for the 8th Air Force and World War II history. The first mission of 8th Bomber Command, 12 B-17s from the 97th with Spitfires flying fighter escort, headed out to a marshalling yard at Rouen. 6 fortresses to bomb the target and the other 6 to fly a diversion route. The first part of the group, led by the 340th Bomb Squadron and commanded by Frank A. Armstrong, who would later become the commander of the 306th Bomb Group. He would be the co-pilot on the B-17 Butcher Shop, but the Fortress would be flown by Captain Paul Tibbets, a man who would 3 years later fly the B-29 Enola Gay, the super fortress he would name after his mother, and pilot the B-29 over Hiroshima, Japan, dropping the world's first atomic bomb on August 6, 1945. The other 5 aircraft came from the 342nd Bomb Squadron. The lead aircraft of the 414th Bomb Squadron was Yankee Doodle, flown by the commanding officer Captain Rudolph E. Flack and co-piloted by Second Lieutenant John R. Dowswell, and also carried the infamous commanding officer of the 8th Air Force Bomber Command, Ira C. Eaker. Eaker would later become Major General in September 1943. Staff Sergeant Kent West, who was the bull turret gunner for the B-17 Birmingham Blitzkrieg, would claim the only aerial victory of the mission. The group took flight from Grafton Underwood at 4:27 and hit the target at 5:39 and 5:46. The accuracy was poor, but was a success for the first mission of the 8th, and with only 2 bombers sustaining damage. The 97th Bomb Group would later be reassigned to the 12th Air Force to help fight in the Mediterranean Theatre, and move later again to the 15th Air Force. Activated at Gowan Field in Idaho on the 1st of December 1942, the 384th Bomb Group was formed. The group was moved to Sioux City in Iowa for final training, then in May 1943 made the journey to England. En route, one of the B-17s had to ditch in the Atlantic, but the crew was rescued. The first aircraft arrived at Station 106 on the 25th of May 1943. The group would be joining up with the 379th Bomb Group at Kimbolton and the 303rd Bomb Group at Molesworth to form the 41st Combat Bombardment Wing. On the 11th of June 1943 would see the first mission for the 384th Bomb Group. The mission was to take out shipyards in Bremen, Germany. This would give the officers their first taste of combat. Luckily, no aircraft was lost on this mission. This mission was flown with 5 experienced officers from the 303rd Bomb Group. The 384th were made up of 4 squadrons: the 544th, the 545th, 546th, and the 547th. The 544th, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Alfred Charles Nuttall. The 545th, commanded by First Lieutenant, then later Major Raymond P. Kettleson. The 546th, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel George W. Harris. And the 547th, commanded by Maurice Stanley Dillingham. All under the command of Colonel Bud J. Peasley, the first commander, followed by Colonel Julius K. Lacey, Colonel Dale O. Smith, and Lieutenant Colonel Theodore R. Milton, and the final commander of World War II, led by Colonel Robert W. Fish, who was previously the commander of the Carpetbaggers Special Operations. The 384th would take part in various missions during their time in the European campaign, hitting targets such as Luftwaffe airfields, aircraft engine plants, synthetic fuel plants, naval bases, ball bearing plants, and marshalling yards, all throughout Poland, Norway, France, and Germany. The group would take part in Operation Argument, also known as Big Week, the mission to take out aircraft factories to cripple the Luftwaffe before the Normandy landings. Big Week would last from the 20th to the 25th of February 1944. This came at a great cost to the United States Army Air Force. Over 227 bombers, flying fortresses and liberators, and 42 fighters lost, along with 5,000 crew missing, killed in action, or prisoners of war. The sacrifice the men made would not be in vain, as the mission would turn the tide of the air war in Europe. The group would take part in Operation Overlord, the Normandy invasion. The first D-Day mission was to knock out rocket gun installations as part of Task Force 1. Task Force 2 took out important bridges behind the beaches, and the third mission to take a highway choke point also behind the beaches. The 384th Bomb Group would be awarded 2 unit citations, one being awarded to the entire 1st Division for flying a mission without fighter escort over Oscherleben, Germany on the 11th of January 1944, and the second for bravery under fire on a mission leading the 41st Wing on a mission over southern Germany on the 24th of April 1944. The last mission to be flown by the 384th was over Czechoslovakia. The target, the Skoda Armament Works. This would not be known to the group that it would be their last mission. Results would be good and the mission complete. Due to a delay, this resulted in the 384th dropping the final bombs of the European campaign, dropped by the B-17 Swamp Angel, although it is debated whether it was the 384th or the 398th who dropped the last bombs. The group were moved to France in June 1945, scheduled for occupational air forces. After 9,404 credited combat sorties, 316 combat missions, 13 Century bombers, and sadly 442 killed in action, the 384th proved they were a powerhouse of the 1st Division. From their leaders to their crew, they got the job done. They kept the show on the road.